These are the RBH R5BiR. Nailed it. That's the worst designation for a speaker ever. Congratulations, RBH. RBH is a brand that I knew of, but I was never like motivated to get it. And thank you, patrons, for motivating me by not giving a shit about how much something costs. Because I went on a little bit of a spending spree with the Patreon money after I realized I was doing headphone, maybe amp. Where's the speakers? So those Yamos, which I'm not sure if that review is coming out before this one or this one's before that one. I've had them up here. I had the Yamos up here, and I was going to review them, and I tried to review them. I recorded an entire review, and I couldn't. I just deleted it. Because I had to get to these first, and then we could talk about the Yamos. Because of all the speakers in the 200, of all the speakers in the sub $500 range, these probably are the ones you should buy. Can I take this cover off? And yes, they're upside down on my stands. And yes, they come with little feet already attached. And let me, little side note, because I had them sitting on their feet in the room waiting for a review. And the front feet crushed down to about half the thickness as the back feet because there's so much weight in the front. And they're so short. So when you put them on the feet, they're going to eventually tilt forward. They fall out real easy because my wires are whores. Too much reflection for a Z review. Glossy as fuck box with a nice, if you could tell through the gloss, because it's actually a lot of fingerprints there, but there's actually like a nice rosewood veneer on that. They don't weigh much. They don't weigh nearly anything. They've got these weird screw-on mounts, which they don't come with anything else, so I don't know. Maybe you could order from RBH like a bracketing system, or there's mounts that I don't know about that use this. Here's your port, and I'm going to yank it out because we'll get to the one issue with these speakers. There's an issue, and it has to do with this port. And shove that back in there for now. 5-way binding post, standard. It's got an interesting little shape going on. And a lot of times I have to keep reminding people that shape like this is actually for sound benefit as much as looks, because the waves that shoot in through the back of the driver, and if it's a square box they bounce around oddly. So a lot of the better manufacturers, people, I don't want to classify that as it either, but a lot of manufacturers who give a shit about that will shape the box like this to break up the reflections. We've got this tweeter here that's just insanely, there's no waveguide, it's just an insanely heavily metal covered, like that's at least a 50% covering with metal. We got the, look at the little baby 5 1/4 real phase plug. Real phase plugs are like a dime a dozen now. The Yamos over there have it, this have it, the old Yamos have it, the Fluon signatures have it, and that helps direct the sound instead of it, the bowl moving in and out and just shooting waves. That will help control the waves, how that's shaped and designed. I'll plug this back in. Hopefully it doesn't fall out during this review. These speakers have what I can only describe as magic. I've mentioned magic before in speakers like the Bucarts, the SVS Ultras, my JBL Studio 530s had magic, and these have magic. Those other ones, however, they had less flaws than this one does. This has one very particular flaw. Only a 5 1/4, yet it still gets very loud. But if you find the right song, or in this case the wrong song, you will get port chuffing that just just strangle all the younglings in the Star Wars universe. Maybe that's what Anakin bought a set of these. He heard that sound on a couple songs and he's like, I'm just gonna kill all these children and see if that helps. It probably didn't. To the point where I yanked the port plug out, because it's just compressed in there. And I'm like, all right, let's try like that. Then you really get a port chuff and it kills the low end. Then I stuff that with like foam to try to like, just please, you're so good. Please don't have this flaw. And I can't get rid of it that way. If you're using them in just a stereo scenario, you're gonna have to deal with it. It's worth it. If you have subwoofers involved, like I do, and you could set the crossover point high enough where that it doesn't even become a problem, then what are you worried about? For home theater, perfect. You just set them and forget them. You set them, you cross over at 80, 70, 60, you play around, see which one works best for you. Don't worry about the speaker. Worry about your sub and your room and how it's gonna work for you. That's how you determine that. Play around with it. Oh my God, I've given you such difficult homework. Set your crossover point on your receiver and then watch a movie. And then switch it and watch the same movie or another movie. Oh, damn. Class with Zeos. Zeos is a terrible teacher. He always makes us do all that homework. Since I've had both of these for the last 3 weeks, it's been very difficult for me to answer questions on Reddit. And on YouTube, and the patrons who come to me, because by the way, if you support on Patreon, I answer your questions guaranteed, because you're fucking paying me to. Where I could skip the ones on Reddit and YouTube because there's so many. And the questions that come up is I'm building a home theater and I've got this budget. And those are $250 a pair, and these are $225 a pair. And when people ask me which one they should get, I am stoically broken. I just sit there with my eyes and mouth open like, oh God. Because I know that these sound magically just a bit, those are amazing. Those are amazing. Those have the most woody sound, and it's just like, I could pull those out of a crowd instantly, and I'm definitely keeping that set. But these sound just better. Just something about the way this tweeter works, the way the phase is. Hold on. I would probably remove the Fluon signatures from my list, because other than those being front ported, which is sort of a benefit, and these having that problem, but these are $25 more and sound immensely better than everything else in the range. I don't know what it is, and I guessed, by the way, when I was listening to these out here, as they came out here first, and I'm switching through tracks. Oh wow, that tweeter's sharp. That's never gonna work on a desk. So the other day, had the desk set up, had all the amps set up. I'm like, all right, they work on a desk. Work gloriously on a desk. And on a desk, you're probably playing them at a lower volume than you would out here. So I wasn't getting that chuffing, because I was never gonna be able to take it loud enough. These are gonna be the most popular speakers that I have reviewed. I reviewed better speakers, more expensive speakers, better looking speakers. I don't particularly like the look of these. It's so shiny that you can, like, look. Dark apple. Look at that. Oh, I can feel it, even though it's fake. It looks good. And this is, whatever's behind it is just there, and it's not smooth, and the front is glossy, and you can see the screw holes, and there's nothing. Those are so much better looking. And when I get to the review of those, which is probably going to be like 12 minutes after this, and I swap them back and do it, I finally feel like I could talk about those getting this out of the way. Are these better speakers than those? I'm tired of better. We're done with better, in fact. You and me, you gotta understand that better doesn't exist. It's what you prefer. All right? I can line up you and all your ex-girlfriends, which one's better, and you'll say, oh, well, this one's I prefer. You prefer this one. Do I prefer this one over that one? Only 5 1/4, 6 1/2. These are ugly. They have that port chuffing problem, but something about the phasing and the way it images in between everything. Fuck! By the way, that's the Amanchu OST from an anime that's very light. I'm gonna say the word light. My friend and I were watching, like, we watched some heavy, deep, hurtful anime, and we had to watch something that was just like, I want something that's about a girl who ran out of room on her phone, and they dedicated an entire fucking episode to her friends figuring that out and buying her a digital picture frame so she could keep all the pictures she had somewhere else. Oh my god, so light. You know how good these speakers are? I haven't built a boombox, a Zaboombox, and they have one somewhere in there under things. And in the summer, I'd go out to a park and I'd bring my thing made of mica MB42Xs with a little amp and battery, and I would just sit in the park and listen to music, like whatever, I don't know. No one else does that. That's a Zeos thing. And these are good enough that I want to build another one because they fucking, and they're only I know. I've sort of, my whole perspective of what's expensive and what's cheap has shifted a bit. I've been doing this for like 3.5, 4 years now. And when I could only afford like $100 pair of speakers and that was it for the rest of my life, and now I'm like edging towards stupidity, I have to remember that you guys are penny pinching and you need to know what's the cheapest and best. Would you buy these over Micas? Yes. Fluon Signature? Yes. Wharfdale's? Yes. Everything. And from what I could tell, you can buy them from their website direct. There's a tower version of these, which would just be ungodly for I think it's like $300 a tower. I'd love to hear them. I'm not putting myself in that position where I'm now going to have a tower that I bought and I got to sell it. Let's keep going. Like right there. That does not sound like a set of 5 1/4s are playing. There's a low rumble and focus to this. Did I tell you they're good on the desk? Because I keep hearing them over here going, the treble is so vibrant and sharp. I don't want to say it's over the top. There's nothing over the top about what comes out of these. I think the Yamos back there are a little bit smoother. I think the Yamos would probably please more people that have never heard good speakers. And these come in and sort of like, wow, that's a lot of detail coming out of that tweeter. And I didn't think it would work on a desk, but sure enough, I sat there and I angled them. I'll tell you how to set them up. I didn't angle them at me. You never want to almost angle them at you. You want to focus them like back there. And they were just like, oh shit. Because those also work on a desk. And these work on a desk. And those still throw out more low end. They're 6.5. This is I hate when I have to do a video where I have to reference something else, but I have to reference it because I got them at the same time. They cost nearly the same money. And those are basically the competition. Which one do you want? These or those? Those look better. Those are softer and sound more, I almost want to say those sound more pleasing. But I respect the sound that's coming out of here more. All right? You know what? You want a better example of that? Studio 530s. I find more pleasing than the SVS Ultras. But the SVS Ultras, I respect the sound that comes out of them more. I know how much work came out of that. And that's where we are with these. These are pretty much the only thing you need to look at all for this price range on your desk. Look how short they are. They'll fit on your desk without issue. And they're rear ported, but the bass does, look how tiny that port is. I'm just gonna wave my hands around until it all makes sense to you, right? Oh. Okay. I've enhanced my calm, John Spartan. These are the ones. Do I want to keep them around? All right, no, making the decision now. Because I'm Zeos and I'm going to end up with speakers literally littering my apartment for the rest of my days, hopefully. I'm putting these up for auction on the Patreon. If you join the Patreon, $5 a month or more, one of the benefits of it, other than seeing these videos early, and if there's low stock on something, like those are low stock and there's probably going to be gone if everyone listens to my review and picks up a set. One of the benefits is you get to see it before everyone else. It's a small group and you get to pick them up before they're out of stock. That's fine. Think about the monoprice M1060s. These, I'm going to put them back in their box. You're on the Patreon, you message me, or you'll see a post, and you'll message me and you'll say, I'm willing to pay you $50 for those, and I'll pay shipping. And if you're the highest bid after a week, take them away from me for $50. That's one of the benefits of the Patreon. I didn't buy these, you guys bought these. You guys are the enablers that cause my apartment to be the least wife-friendly thing. So, fuck, these are so good. But I'd rather keep the Yamos because they are the prettiest speaker I've ever seen. They're the prettiest speaker I've ever seen. Those are nice. Those are prettier. Sound demo in the description. And I did the sound demo before these reviews, and I know for a fact it doesn't sound as good as it should on the sound demo. I just you can't. It's just half-assing the physics and acoustic things. Trust me on this. Don't trust me on anything else. Just trust me on this. If your speakers that you get sound like this, you're going to be very done for a while with speakers. And they do get pretty loud. Okay, Madoka, thank you. There's a reason these get all the praise, because they deserve it. Alright, Patreon link in the corner if you want to pick these up. If it's a week after this review's come live, that's when you can do that. Links to these obviously in the description. I'll even link to those in the description of this video, and I'll probably discuss these in that video. And the wallpaper download, Grotto Girl there with the PS1000s. I prefer the GS1000s, although they're, I don't know, that's big. Cat link in the description. You want to pick one of these up, go to the Humane Society and pick up a kitty cat. Yeah. Alright, moving on.